We've got others. John Parker?
There's John Parker.
Yes.
Hi, John Parker.
Hey, John. Nice to meet you.
BJ.
All right, so this is the tree commission meeting. We've got in attendance John Parker, Kippy Laughlin, Jim Arthur, Joe Viviano. We've got our forestry foreman Nate Leimeister and our forestry superintendent Scott Cromer. I'm Elizabeth, I'm the clerk, and then we have Nick from Ohio Edison representing as well.
Well, let's get rolling then. And you said Bree will likely chime in here soon?
Yes, there is a link open. She's at home. She needs to stay at home. So, but if we might see her tune in.
Okay. Welcome guest.
Thank you.
And you are from the electric company.
Correct, yep, Ohio Edison, yep.
And we're going to talk about today tree trimming specifically.
That's why I'm here, I guess, right?
Well, we won't have any questions until you start rolling something out to us, I guess. So you have the floor.
Yeah, my understanding, you wanted me to come here and kind of give a brief overview of what First Energy does for our tree trimming program. So every single year we do distribution circuit tree trimming, transmission circuit tree trimming. Each circuit is trimmed on pretty much a 4 or 5 year basis, depending on the severity of that, and we contract out certified tree trimming companies that do the work. We don't actually do any of the actual tree trimming work. The technique that's used is directional pruning, so I'm sure you've seen, afterwards what the trees look like. So what they do is they trim the limbs at the trunk of the tree in a way that encourages the tree to grow away from the lines. It's actually beneficial to the tree instead of the old topping technique that was used in the past, which was pretty harmful to the tree. This is actually causes a decrease in decaying, and by trimming it that way, not only does it encourage the tree to grow away from the lines, it also decreases the amount of times that tree actually has to be trimmed. So that's why that technique is used. When these tree trimming operation takes place, typically the limbs are put through a grinder and the debris is taken away, which is different during a storm activity. So if a tree comes down, if limbs come down during a storm, forestry is brought in to make it safe, and then they leave the limbs on the homeowner's property because it's their trees, because our crews typically are working as safely and as fast as possible, so they're trying to get to that next outage situation. So before forestry work takes place, customers are notified, typically with a door hanger, that tree trimming activity is going to be taking place. And then when I'm usually notified of where this is going to be taking place, and I usually will try to let Aaron and Scott know so that they're well aware of the route that what company we hired that's going to be doing the work. So we do it every single year. Trees typically are the #1 cause of electrical outages, so that's why we proactively try to tree trim to reduce those number of outages, and it's also a safety thing too. So trees, if they come in contact with a conductor, they are a conductive surface, and unfortunately over the years there have been accidents and fatalities throughout the country due to people coming in contact with trees that are electrified. So, and also fires too. So arcing can take place if a tree limb comes in contact with a conductor as well. So it's not only a reliability issue, it's a safety issue as well if we're not tree trimming. So that's typically the process that takes place. Every single year we're in different areas for our distribution tree trimming, and it's helped with our reliability numbers as well, so keeping customers on.
I'm just going to interrupt briefly to let everyone know that Bree's tuned in. I'm not sure if she can hear us. Hopefully she can. But I won't bring her up on the screen unless she talks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My first question is, you said the outsourced tree trimmers are certified. By whom?
That they have to go through. I know we do the National Arborists Association, so credentials. So I believe, like I said, I'm not in our forestry group, but they're all certified through that group with the credentials that they need to for work with near high power lines. So I don't know this exact certification that they need, but they are certified to work in those conditions.
So First Energy themselves does not necessarily certify them. Some other agency.
That's my understanding. Yeah, that's my understanding.
I have a question. Who decides who does the cutting? Because I know the city does a lot of cutting around power lines too. Do you contact them sometimes to do certain things and vice versa? How does that work?
So what they do is the directional pruning that he talked about, and they do it in a circuit. So like every 4 years, they're just going to come through and trim any of the trees that are under the high power lines. What we do is we try to maintain all of our trees, in general, with the limited workforce that we have, we try to get what we can get done.
Well, because I know one time you trimmed a tree outside of our house, and where it was the power line the tree had grown into the power line, and you guys kind of just snipped it on each end and left it kind of on the power line, correct? Is that how?
So that was probably on a bell line, which is different than the power lines. The power
Okay.
lines are higher.
Okay.
They're trimming the branches before they get to the power lines. What you're seeing is like AT&T's telephone line or.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on
Which is different.
Power space at the top of the pole, and then you go down, and you're just phone and cable and fiber beneath that.
Okay.
So yeah, any branch that's touching a line is probably not a power line.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you would know if there was a limb touching a power line, you would know. So.
Okay. And so if they miss something and you guys see it, you call them to come remedy it?
If there's a limb that we believe that's in a high power line, we will call Ohio Edison because we don't want to touch a high power,
Sure.
Something that's in
Yeah.
there because.
Yeah, we encourage that to them, to contact us, and then we'll send someone from our forestry group out to investigate to see and make sure it's safe. And then if it does, we will do trimming. If it's not within that 4-year window, we will do trimming on a specific tree if there's an issue, outside of that 4 years.
So you have a regular plan, of course.
Oh, of course,
Like just
yep.
every 4 or 5 years you.
Yep, they know
Zone
the circuits
trim,
that are ahead
whatever.
of time. So beginning of next year, I'll be notified what circuits in the area will be trimmed, and then I'll communicate that accordingly. So.
And the city always has advance notice, right?
I try to, yeah. As soon as I know, I let them know. Sometimes, obviously, I do my best I can to communicate that, and sometimes things come up. But I do my best to communicate that ahead of time.
Well, you're saying all the right things.
Try to.
We all have an axe to grind, as it were,
Yeah.
about particular trees, this one.
Oh no, I get it. And I
Sometimes they do a real butcher job.
yeah, they don't trim for aesthetics, that's for sure. So they trim for safety and reliability. So I understand that initially it may not look the most visually pleasing, but the tree, as the tree does mature after that, it will hopefully grow, away from the lines. And the big thing is for reliability and safety and to not kill the tree, and that's kind of why they do that directional pruning. So it kind of helps for all 3 of those.
We learned a long time ago that if there's a grudge match between the city forestry department and First Energy, First Energy's always going to win if it goes to court, if it ever goes that far, which it rarely does. So I don't know what to do with that information.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just the way it is, and we got to live with it.
Yeah, there's the easements that we have. We have the right to maintain our equipment, and that's kind of the laws that we abide by within those specific easements. So, and there's different easements for distribution lines and transmission lines.
So Nick, what in particular when they do a tree, when they trim a tree, when the tree is like Jim said, like when it's really trimmed hard and it's not balanced, at what point do you guys or the tree company ever consider like, this tree is at the point to where we need to remove it?
Yeah.
Like, what is that tipping point? When does that come into play?
Though, like, if there is a tree that's either dead or rotting or like that, we will cut it down during those times and you know, kind of section it off and so that it's in more manageable pieces, but it's kind of on a case-by-case basis depending on what, you know, the situation, and it's all, we have, like I said, our forestry group, that they're the experts in that, and they'll kind of make that decision based on that specific tree, so. I usually get, Jerry Mason's the one, he's in, I don't know if you ever met Jerry before, but he's the one he's out of our Sandusky line shop, so he's typically, either him or one of his team will kind of assist with that, so. And we typically work with the property owners, you know, to amend, if there's an issue there specifically, we'll do our best to work with them to appease them, you know, that both sides that we're satisfied with the result and, you know, for reliability and safety purposes, but also the homeowner is understanding and satisfied too, so.
So what, like, appealing wise, why don't they like balance a tree or make it more appealing when they trim? I think that's a question that I know I always have is.
Yeah.
It's not aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, no, they don't trim for aesthetics, that they trim for reliability purposes, so, but, that's their goals for safety and for reliability.
Is there a distance away from the lines that you want? Is there a
I believe
minimum?
the normal rule of thumb is 15 feet, that's kind of like, if you're planting a tree,
Yeah,
don't plant, you know, we highly encourage no one to plant anything directly beneath the tree unless it's like a tree that will mature to beneath that line, but and then if it's a, bear with me, 1 second, what the specifics are, sorry. Trees that reach 20 to 45 feet of maturity should be planted at least 15 feet away. And if a tree mature height is more than 45 feet, plant at least 50 feet away. So that's kind
50
of,
feet away.
that's kind of the guideline that we like
that's
to give.
total or on each side?
For like plant the tree, like I understand the base of the tree is like 50 feet away from the line, so.
Oh, the base of the tree
Yeah, we
is
plant
50.
it, yeah.
So at the top, if there's a mature tree in the lines, how far, is there a?
Oh, you're saying?
He's asking the minimum.
How far do they have to
clearance.
cut the V?
Oh, I'm not sure, it's on a case by case, depending on the tree too, because they cut it back to the trunk of the tree, so for that,
Okay.
because if they don't, it's going to, my understanding, like I said, I'm not an arborist, so my limited understanding is that if they don't trim it that way, it's gonna create a situation where it's more damaging to the tree and it could cause
Right.
more decay,
Right.
is my understanding.
I didn't know if there were some certain parameters where they tried to stay.
Yeah, no, I think it's based
Some of
on
them
tree by
out
tree
of
basis,
control.
depending on how the tree is structured.
Yeah, or how far they had to
So-
stay away from the lines.
Yeah, because they have to trim it in a way that the tree is still structurally sound,
Right.
so.
You guys have to do power lines in backyards too, don't you?
Yeah, if we have.
That just
a lot of rear
happened down
lot-
my street. I felt kind of sorry for those guys.
Yeah, we do
You
have
can't
a
get
lot.
a bucket truck back in there.
Yeah, but also the reason that too, if you are a customer with a rear lot, it's typically, if there's an outage, those are typically the longer outages too. So if we do tree trim, it's for reliability purposes, it's gonna reduce the number of times you'll experience an outage during a storm. If we, typically during a storm, we restore the largest number of customers first, based on, and those rear lot outages are typically one outage customer, so they're a lot of times the last customers to be restored. So if we do tree trimming back there and it helps with reliability, it's gonna limit those numbers of times that they are experiencing an outage.
Is there ever a cost to the homeowner?
Now when we're doing our normal distribution tree trimming, and I don't think even, obviously in storms not either, the main thing with storms is the debris that's left afterwards, so there's some questions because a lot of times the limbs are left behind because it's the homeowner's tree, so that's kind of the contention that comes up during a lot of storm situations.
One recent example that sticks in my craw to this day is, there was a tree, it was a younger tree on Columbus Avenue in front of the former Knights of Columbus. That thing was so butchered up, you guys wound up cutting it down, didn't you?
Yeah, we cut it down. They put a new pole in right there.
Oh, okay.
And it was about 10 feet from the pole.
Okay,
And so there wasn't a lot of room for it to both be there.
okay,
They just didn't do a really good job making the proper cuts, but
okay. Was it a?
we understood that we took it down and it just wasn't in a good location.
Did they have set, was it a carpool accident? Did they set a new pole from that, or was it just?
I don't think there was an accident.
Oh.
It was a new pole that was being put in there.
Okay,
So that's the exception.
yeah,
But we see those, and the ones that people around town notice the most are the trees on the boulevard, of course.
Right.
They never see the trees in backyards, that kind of thing.
correct. That makes sense. Yeah, there's more eyes on them.
I don't have anything else. Anybody else? Questions, comments? No.
I think it just raises the importance of tree selection. I mean, on our part,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
to select the right location and the right tree for that location when we're dealing with power lines.
And we try to, if there's new developments going in or whatnot, we try to educate, the customers on that too. So, try to, like you said, if it's the right tree, that it won't have to be, trimmed, so.
And the city, forestry in particular, has become more mindful of that in the last decade or so.
Good.
Years ago, it was just plant a silver maple here and stuff.
I think we have, like I said, I hope we have a good working relationship with everyone there, and because if there's anything that comes up, you guys have my number, so you can give me a call, so.
It's just, I think, the tree commission, along with our staff and Elizabeth, take a lot of calls on, because a lot of the residents that request a tree really want a tree.
You're right.
And they take pride in that tree in front of their property. And then when they see, these, tree companies come in and do this, it's kind of, it's upsetting to the point of, it takes so long to have that tree grow and look good than something like this. So, I mean, I guess it's really just back to the point of selecting the correct tree for the location.
Yeah, no, we get it too, so like I said, we're sympathetic of that, but at the same time, we have a responsibility for reliability and safety, so that's kind of our guiding, path as to what we're trying to accomplish, so.
They probably won't care if their electric went out though, would they?
They do care, trust me, so yeah, that's like a lot of phone calls for that too, so trust me, so.
Yeah, screw the shade if I don't have any power in my
Oh,
house.
yeah. Yeah, we had some pretty bad windstorm up by my way this summer. It was like, I think that one of those August, it was like 80-mile-per-hour winds that whipped through, and we lost power in my house for a couple of days, and I have a 5-year-old, and she was losing her mind, and her tablet wasn't working, so I was just like making all of my phone calls. I'm like, you have to have my power on, so it's driving.
Can't you do something, Dad?
Exactly.
It's all your fault.
I'm the last one to get turned on, trust me, so.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me. Like I said,
Very reassuring.
yeah.
No new information, but that's fine. It's reassuring that you made an appearance and took the effort to run through your process again.
Yeah, and if there's any specific come up, let me know, and we'll have our forestry group look into it and just kind of see what we can do and, go from there kind of thing, so.
Yeah, we appreciate the time.
Very much so. Thank you,
Well,
sir.
thanks so much.
Yep.
Thanks, Nick.
Have a great rest of your
You
day.
can go next door and have a cocktail.
There you go, yeah. Go home before my kids get home, so have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks so much.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you. Have a great day.
That was the agenda.
Yep.
Tree stats.
It was fruitful.
And tree stats, yeah.
And Bree is listening and she can.
Yeah.
I think there's some issues.
If you meant to comment, Bree, I'm sorry, I heard something, but I heard something, I'm not sure if she did or not.
That's not my line of expertise, but yeah, she just had the same concerns.
Try to put that. Maybe I did.
All right, I'll do the tree stats real quick.
Not too quick. You talk too fast.
Removals for up until today, we have 145 removals, 252 stump removals, 469 trees that we did limb ups on to get proper clearance, 50 trees, complete trims, 141 young tree training, 9 trees we removed the dead wood in. Inspections, 376. We've had 49 trees that we've done storm cleanup on. We just planted 24 trees last month. Tree
How many
water,
did you plant? I'm sorry,
24.
24.
So that was all year too then, right? Because you weren't planning at the beginning of the year.
Correct, yep, we just did 24 for this year. We do have, what did I get, 6 more? 6 more that we're gonna plant
Yes,
on Adams.
403 Adams,
Yep.
Mr. Weedham.
Yeah, one of my friends got one planted. I was like, I don't think we're planting this year. And he said, no, they came out and put it in. So
It's in there. Tree, all right, 231 tree watered. For tree inventory, we've got 97 trees on our removal list, 122 to be trimmed, and 98 stumps to be removed. That's all I got.
That's a good accounting there, thank you.
Not bad for 2 guys.
Right. I thought you hired a
Really,
new one,
dude?
a third one,
Eric resigned.
because
He started his own business, so we went
he
to
was here
3.
for what, 2 months?
No,
No, Eric Gildemeister.
he was here for,
Oh, that's right. That Eric, gotcha.
So
yep,
we got a third person and lost our second person, so we're back down to 2.
Wow.
so we posted the forestry position within the union, and I don't think we had any bids, so it will go public.
So now you gotta go outside.
Yep, if you know any tree trimmers, tell them to apply.
It's on the website currently.
Yep.
Bless you.
I just had a question for you and now it went away. Oh, the last meeting, the gentleman from West Adams Street and Franklin, we all agreed that he wasn't going to be allowed to keep those. And you made a remark toward the end of the meeting that you didn't see the need to get on those removals right away.
So,
Why was that, and when are you planning on getting rid of them?
so those are the 6 trees that Nate mentioned that we still have to plant. He ordered them.
Oh,
They
okay,
should be in next week. I've had a couple conversations with Mr. Weedle, and I need to follow up this last time with, Nate just found out today of a timeline to get those trees, and then we want to make sure when we plant those, he can either remove those that are there, or we'll end up taking them down to make room for the new one.
Yeah, I talked to him shortly after that meeting and let him know that we had chose different trees and that we would be planting them this fall. So he's had the opportunity to dig them if he wanted to keep them or remove them if that's what he wanted to do. So,
and that's his choice at this point.
yes.
We're gonna leave it up to him if he'd like to save them and transplant them, by all
Sure.
means.
Sure.
But we need to have them out when we're ready to plant, otherwise we're gonna have to cut them down ourselves, so we wanna work with him in case he does wanna transplant them to another property outside of the city. But, or in the backyard.
And would you guys pull them out? I mean, they're smaller trees, right? Or are they pretty big now?
We're not gonna do it, we didn't plant them,
Okay.
so I'm not gonna spend staff time to pull them out.
Right, but if they're there when we go to plant, yeah, we'll probably just pull them out.
Yeah, with a shovel, I'm not saying like.
Yeah, you're not gonna save,
No, no,
pamper the roots.
We're not
No, I'm gonna-
straighten them out and.
Yeah, we're not gonna save them. We're,
Ball and burlap for
Right,
them, no.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not gonna spend our time like, yeah, so. Yep,
Fantastic. And is he okay, not that it matters, with the species that you told him he's
that's
gonna
what
be
we've
getting?
had conversations with, and I let them know what we were planting, so I just needed a follow-up with them. I left a message, so I gotta follow back up with him, let him know a time, and, yeah, he didn't seem.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
he kept talking about wanting to maintain the heritage of that property. Well, I talked to a lady who were volunteers at the greenhouse. She did some research for Ruth Parker a couple of years ago. Went so far as to go over to Fremont to find pictures, and she did. There wasn't a tree on that whole area.
Oh, really?
This was back in the 1800s. So there never was a heritage urban forest around that house that he kept referring to.
Right.
Okay. Wonderful news all the way around.
We're good.
Is that it?
That's it.
John, it was hardly worth your time driving in here.
Well.
And you
it's good to Be
too.
here and see everybody.
You live way out there in Shaker Heights or whatever it is. I don't have anything else. Meeting's adjourned.